What a difference a day makes. 24 little hours. What a difference the day makes. To the weather. Anyway, good morning. Galimera. As you can see, it's grim. Yes, I didn't actually say yesterday, but we were actually expecting stormy weather. We had a little bit of rain last night, nothing major. But at the moment, as you can see, the weather is on the turn. Heavy cloud at the moment in the front of the house. Going back across, looking across the direction of Kerry and going through Amberlockaby. That's a village that is also in where is it? In that direction. All right. Yeah, we can see the clouds working their way over, and I don't see any light. Oh, there's a little bit of light coming through there, I suppose, a little bit of sun. And you can obviously, I could guarantee you can probably hear the wind that's blowing at the moment. So anyway, that's the look at the weather this morning. Let's quickly go round to the other side of the house and have a look at the weather over there, looking towards Laguna and then directly through to the direction of Kalamaki as well. Looking a little bit of sun. The sun is up here, just in the middle there. Where is my hand there? That's the sun just trying to get through up there. But again, not looking good. Anyway, Steve Hinklin says, are you in the UK with that weather? No, it's still warm. It's not cold. It's just grim, overcast, and looking directly above us at the cloud. Yeah, it looks like we've got rain on the way. The hill in front of us that you see here, Jane and I actually walked up to the top of that last night or yesterday afternoon as part of our exercise regime. First time we'd ever been up to the top of it, and really pleasant. I took a load of pictures yesterday of our little trip up there. I'll probably put those up online a little bit later today. And it was nice. We couldn't actually look directly down at the house because it is very thick wood up the top there, but there's olive groves all the way to the top at the back of that hill. A very pretty area, really nice. Jane can see one of her old villas from the top there as well, where Geordie Shore was filmed in the season that they came to Zakynthos. And yes, the villa was trashed by Geordie Shore. However, the film company put it back the way it was. In fact, better, Jane said. But it's a bit of an extreme way to go about getting your villa redone for free. But anyway, I digress. Right, let's have a look at what's been going on. Thank you for all those people yesterday that were sending me links to the protests in London and also the protests in Paris. Jane's just been reading up about those protests online this morning through Lockdown Skeptics. I must admit I wasn't very impressed with the police activity yesterday. It looked like they were just grabbing anybody that couldn't keep up with the main pack. One phrase I heard used this morning, they were like lions picking off the injured gazelle. And there's a lot of people not very happy with the police. I noticed a lot of the press were kind of exaggerating what was going on, making it out worse than what it was in the way of isolating incidents where literally you'd have 30 police on the back of one man or person who just was minding their own business in some ways, just walking along with the crowd, enjoying the atmosphere, and next thing you know, just being pinned to the ground by 30 police officers and then being carted off to be processed out of something like, God knows, Nazi Germany, if you want to be extreme about it. And then obviously people being fined £100 once they were being processed and being told, we'll reduce the cost if you want, if you pay within so many days, or you can fight it out in court. And most of the people weren't activists or troublemakers. They were just middle-class people who were fed up with the lockdown. But anyway, I think the government is, in Britain this is definitely losing it in the way that they're handling the whole situation. And it does make you worry for the future of the country once this is all over. Anyway, let's have a look at what's going on here in Greece. A little oasis of sensibility in some respects. All right, but anyway, here's what's been going on. All right, 29th of November. My God, we're almost to the end of the month. It's not, December's not far off now. We're in day 23 of the lockdown. As I said, the weather's not been great. Oh, there's a bit of blue sky. I've just seen it at the moment. But anyway, and the wind is actually picking up as well. And I don't know if you're actually detecting that. Anyway, COVID in the last 24 hours. Greek Health yesterday confirmed on Saturday night that there were 1,747 new infections, which was down on yesterday, but which drove the total number since the pandemic started to 103,034. Now, interestingly, only 2 new cases of the reported virus actually came in from entry points into the country. We've seen that dropping anyway, and where the panic was at the beginning of the summer season of all the tourists are going to bring COVID in virus and infection, that never really materialised. And again, with the country locked down the way it is, the borders closed up in the north, flights very, very limited into the country. Only 2 people have brought any or tested positive, shall we say, because you don't know whether those 2 people were hospitalised or that. But anyway, only 2 people tested positive. So that's a good point in some ways. Anyway, good thing is no new cases here on Zakynthos. There has been 1 new case in Kefalonia, and we've also got another 6 cases in Corfu, our neighbours. All right. Anyway, deaths unfortunately were on the rise yesterday. 121 new deaths were reported. The total fatalities since the pandemic started now has been 2,223 deaths. The average age of those who died was 80 years of age. However, younger people have succumbed. And as I've said before, I think the youngest person was in their 20s that passed away here in Greece. Anyway, the total number of incubated patients rose yesterday only by 1 to 606. The average age of those is 65. There have been 557s passed through the intensive care units since the pandemic crisis started. And the age of people is also, they say the average age is 65, but there are younger people in the ICUs suffering the effects of the virus. Interestingly, the owner of a restaurant in Edessia in northern Greece has been arrested for opening his establishment despite the restrictions in place, police said on Saturday. Police said they inspected the premises on Friday night and found it to be open and serving food with 5 customers inside. That owner was arrested on the spot and fined 3,000 euros, while customers were each fined 300. Anyway, the intensive controls are continuing by the Ionian Island Special Police Teams. Figures were published yesterday, Friday. It seems that during inspections carried out for not using a mask, 1 person in Zakynthos was booked, 15 people in Corfu were booked, 2 in Macardo were booked. I've not heard a lot from Macardo on that front. And 1 person in Kefalonia was also booked for not wearing a mask, which is a mandatory €300 fine. Okay, in addition to that, in Zakynthos, 6 people were done for violations of movement, which means they'd either hadn't checked out on SMS or what they were doing while they were out. The police may have questioned it as says to, well, I don't think you needed to make that journey. Anyway, 6 people have been fined for that. 10 people in Corfu have also been fined for that. And 6 people in Kefalonia fined for that. And the fine for unnecessary movement is €300 also. Anyway, interestingly, we were talking about this yesterday with a friend of ours who just popped by on her way into town to collect some books. The Municipality of Zakynthos informed parents and students of primary and secondary education establishments that it is already proceeded and has bought 150 tablets, which will be distributed to head teachers of schools here on the island. Now, the 150 tablets are intended for primary school users, and 94 for secondary education. This comes on the back of KTEL, who went out and bought a load of tablets as well, giving those to local schools so that children can go online and do their work. Anyway, the municipality stated, our goal is to meet the needs of all students in terms of distance learning and students to continue their studies smoothly. Our friend yesterday has 2 children at primary school of various ages. One is 5, the other is 10. She says actually that the homeschooling actually is quite intensive for her. Basically, the kids get up in the morning, the teachers set homework for them. They have to have the homework completed by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, when they then start their actual online lessons. And they'll do their online lessons up until about 5 o'clock in the evening, maybe a little bit later. She does say that obviously having 2 children of various ages, it's obviously 2 sets of teachers that they're dealing with, plus as well, it's 2 computers being used in the house. Obviously where she lives, it's a little bit out of the back of beyond, so the signal isn't fantastic. So again, there's buffering problems, etc. and that with the kids doing their classes. And she says actually it's quite intensive actually, and it puts her life on hold because she has to actually supervise the children while they're doing their lessons, and obviously she's running between the 2 children to make sure that 1, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, 2, they're understanding what's being told of them what to do. So she actually can't do what she wants to do in just the general way of doing housework, doing the sort of jobs you would do running a home. And she is one of those who's, I can't wait for the kids to get back to school and can't see the need for the children to be off from school at the moment. So once again, for the kids at home, homeschooling, yeah, it's also tough on the parents as well as on the, and tough for the kids because they don't get to see their friends. They don't get to have social time with their mates in the playground, all those little things that you kind of take for granted. And then when they're not there, you realise you've lost them. So anyway, I'll keep my eye on that. We'll see how that works out. Anyway, Christmas, yes. Greek Prime Minister Mr. Mitsotakis said on Saturday, while doing a visit to Thessaloniki, that family gatherings this Christmas should be limited to minimise the risk of contagion. Very, very dramatic speech. Speaking to medical and nursing staff at the Papa Georgiou Hospital, he said, we have a different Christmas this year. Yes, much more limited with our families, with the people we love, maybe one more family. And so it must be this special 2020, which had many surprises in store for us. So basically what they're saying is that families can get together for Christmas with another family. But as always, people say in Greek, how big is a Greek family? In England, we know it's mum, dad, brother and sister, aunties and uncles. However, friends of the family that are not blood relatives, we have aunties and uncles. But with Greeks, they normally have big families, in my experience, and everybody's family, all right? So it's going to be interesting to see how that's going to be governed. No numbers have been given. So, I mean, that's a point in the direction. He's not saying, like in Britain, you can only have 6 people come to the house over Christmas, whereas it's a family and another family. So how big are the families? All right. So anyway, Mitsotakis also said that the data show that the viral load in the city where he was, in Thessaloniki, is decreasing, which is reflecting in the lower hospital administrations. However, it will take more time to see a clear improvement. We know that we will have another 1 or 2 very difficult weeks ahead of us. That says to me, he might be getting ready to say that the lockdown is going to go on past the 7th. And I've just warned you now, so don't let it come as any big surprise. However, we shall see. I certainly want it to be over by the 7th. I don't know about you, but I certainly do, because it's my birthday on the 13th, and I want to at least be able to go out somewhere and maybe have a meal or whatever, or even a takeaway. All right. Anyway, so he said... oh yeah, but we also know when we start the exit to this restrictions, we will have to be doubly careful, he said, and reiterated that people should not repeat the mistakes of the summer when health directives were largely abandoned. Anyway, responsibility weighs on us all, I believe, and I was the first to recognise the share of responsibility that belongs to the state, but we must not forget that individual behaviours are what determines the rate of spread of the pandemic. I've got to be honest, beginning of the crisis, he handled it well. I've got to be honest, you can't say any better than that. And in some ways, our infection rate has been one of the lowest in Europe. So he did the right thing. But it's like all nations everywhere across Europe are all singing off the same song sheet. They won't admit that they're all doing the same thing. But somehow when you look at the detail, they're all doing the same thing. And shutting down the economies of nearly the whole of Europe, as well as us here in Greece, was absolutely total madness. The restrictions in lockdowns and 10 o'clock curfews, and at least we had midnight curfews here, that didn't do anything to limit the spread of the virus. And in fact, if anything, it just made things worse because everybody was turfing out all at the same time, all social distancing. It should have been from the start, and we know now, protect the old, make sure that they're safe, and let people continue their jobs and their businesses. Test people as and when they start feeling the effects of the virus, rather than mass testing, which only ramps up the hysteria, and shutting the economy down for what is basically a flu virus has just decimated economies, I think, for decades to come. I was reading yesterday that the Italian economy is totally trashed with the money that they're borrowing. Italy was already in a load of problems even before the virus started. And it probably will never be sorted in our lifetimes. I know in my lifetime, probably not. And I'm worried that Greece is going to go down the same road. Money being given out by the establishments to prop up your social welfare systems while we get through this is the wording being used. And I've got to admit, the EU's patronising way that they talk even to Greece, like they're talking to somebody beneath them, and we're doing you such a great favour, but you've got to follow our rules if you want to stay in the club, just actually is beginning to really gall me at the moment. Anyway, going back to Mr. Mitsotakis, he was speaking to local radio stations before leaving Thessaloniki. Mitsotakis reiterated that he accepted the blame for not imposing a lockdown in Thessaloniki a week earlier, but then added, there was not many voices in the city that was asking for a closure, nor did I have any relevant suggestion from the expert committee advising the government. Well, change your experts would be the thing. I think a week didn't make a difference, to be honest. And as we always said, the infection didn't come in from outside. It was through people not following the advice. But also, when you've got experts using tests to back up figures, i.e. you get tested, you might test positive, doesn't necessarily mean you've got the virus and you're a risk to anybody, you're asymptomatic, it just adds fuel to the fire. But you should have kept the economy open, and I'll tell you what now, there's a lot more hurting on the way as we probably go into a recession after this. Anyway, moving on. Do you want some happy news? I'll give you some happy news. All right, I've got a couple of bits of happy news to make you feel better. According to research conducted by the e-learning platform Preply, I think that's how you pronounce that, which connects its users to tutors in over 27 languages, which Greece is rated as the 5th sexiest language in the world, all right? After Russian, French, Portuguese, Italian is rated the number 1, with Greece at number 5. In the study, it was shown that participants from diverse lingual backgrounds, which were measured as they were being flirted to in languages that they didn't understand, all right, using pickup lines. Anyway, in these various languages, according to the survey that was done, people got a flutter when people were talking Greek to them or Italian to them. However, those people, no disregard to the Dutch. The Dutch language was rated the least sexiest language. Okay. Which made me chuckle, because all you think about is the naughty movies from Holland. Oh, das ist good. No, that's Germany, isn't it, what I'm doing there? But anyway, the Dutch have got the least sexiest voice. I'm just thinking Martin Bernard Coldwell over there in Brussels, who's actually learnt Dutch so they can have a more blended in lifestyle over there in Brussels, where they speak Dutch as well as obviously Flemish and what other language? French in there. But anyway, so there you go. Greek is the 5th sexiest language. Okay, Dutch is the least sexiest language. No mention of English though. I think we're just the easiest language, aren't we, basically? Anyway, a linguist by the name of Alexandra Stefanic argues that the languages, even with the distribution of vowels and consonants in their words, such as Italian and Greek, sound more musical to our ears and therefore more attractive. I've always said that. I like listening to some rap records from other nations where you don't understand what they're saying, but there's just a rhythm in the sound of the voice and what's being said that you kind of pick up on it, and you kind of go, that's clever, that's nice, but I wonder what they're saying. But anyway, let you go. Anyway, they said that Dutch sounds just very clunky, as does German. Yeah, I can see that a mile off, all right? Anyway, also as well, another nice little interesting story. As you may remember, this week, footballing legend Diego Maradona passed away. A lot of mourning has been going on all over the world. Not so much with Gary Lineker, that's for sure. Not very nice comment there, Gary. However, it seems Olympiacos joined in the mourning because Maradona played briefly for Olympiacos. Yes, that's right. Even if it was only just a few hours, he basically turned up at the Olympiacos stadium. He put on the red and white jersey, went and kicked a ball about, did a few tricks, which the audience or the crowd absolutely loved. And he was then granted, what was the word I'm looking for? He became an honorary member. That's the word, an honorary member of the Olympiacos team. And the ecstatic fans were chanting his name. And this happened actually back in 2005 when I first, before I came on the island. But in January of 2005, he was regarded as a magician. That's what a lot of Greek pundits have said, man, and made an honorary member of the team. And the audience at the time, or the crowd, shouted, "Long live Greece, long live Olympiacos. Maradona, you are driving us crazy with your red jersey." Oh, bless. There you go. Right, okay. That's all the news I've got for you today. Let's have a quick look who's tuning in on this rather grim morning this morning. Shane Bowen is tuning in. Nice to see you, big buddy. Graham Chisholm is also tuning in. Nice to see you. Steve Hinkling is watching. Thank you, Steve. He's already let me know that the weather in the UK is not that good today. Bless you, Steve. I hope you're all right, fella. And are you still at home at the moment? Because obviously the schools in the UK are closed at the moment, as far as I'm aware. I'm not 100% sure on that. But anyway, I know Steve Hinkling was one of those working in the education that was working all through the lockdown. Obviously, his school was used as a school for kids from essential workers. So that, that mums and dads could go off and do their jobs while the kids were at school. Shane Bowen again says, Gallimera Jeans. Thank you, Shane. Caroline Davis is watching as well. Andy Dances says, good morning, Gin. Similar weather to Swansea today, although it's probably a bit warmer where you are. I've got to be honest, it is. It's not cold. It's grim and dull. And looks like rain's going to come. Not a day for washing, that's for sure. But it's not cold, all right? I'll give it that. Julie Ansell is also watching as well. Paul Goody, Rafa Edge Buddy, is watching as well. John Mims is watching. Amanda Gregory up the hill is watching. So pleased about the little dogs doing well, my lovely. And Alan's got his driving licence as well. Pleased about that. Dennis Patrick Carroll is also watching from Cyprus. What's the weather like in Cyprus? Have you got sun there today? Amanda Gregory says, morning, Ginge. Graham Bint in Australia is tuning in as well. Lovely to have you watching in as well, Graham. Maureen Elves is also watching from round the back. And Mike Ryan, nice to see the old boss there tuning in, checking on one of his young lads. Yeah, I'm still turning and burning, sir. I hope you're doing well as well. Hilary Rogers is watching as well. Nice to have you tuning in. Chick Valentine, Rap Reg is tuning in. Billy Esther is tuning in. Lyndon is also tuning in. And Steve says all the schools are open in the UK. Oh, so the kids are still going to school. Fantastic. Well, that's good. Somebody says it's a bit windy up the hill. I'll get down to that in a minute. Amanda Gregory said it's a bit windy up the hill. Yeah, it's a bit windy down here as well. Right, that's it from me today. What are we doing today? Well, not a lot really. Normally we'd be going to feed the strays down in Kalamaki, but we can't do that because we don't want to get booked basically. But other than that, yeah, just hanging around. Oh yeah, just to remind you, next show number 15, I think. Is it show number 15? Yeah, show number 15 next Wednesday, which I think will be probably the 1st or it might even be the 2nd of December by then. If you want to request dedication or whatever, stick it in the comments below, okay? Can I say thank you to all those people who've been tuning in to show 14. That has actually charted show 14 as well, which is great. Sam's birthday party as well, that's charted. The last chart positions was 80th in the pop, 21st in reggae, and 92nd in the soul chart as well. So thanks, and thank you for all the comments on that. If you want a birthday show or some celebration show for a wedding anniversary or for whatever, well, I'm making a Christmas show already. For my mum in the nursing home, Green Gables. Get in touch with me and we'll talk and we'll sort something out. But they've been rather successful, sort of little one-off shows that I've done for people. And once again, I'm bored sometimes, it's something to do. Anyway, listen, you take care, you have a great day, and Amanda is saying, I'm going to be doing washing day today. Laugh out loud. All right, then. Just make sure it doesn't get wet. All right. I'm going to go. I will see you again later. You take